King Harris, the son of rap icon T.I., is fighting for his very life tonight. Reports confirm that after a savage and brutal jailhouse attack, King was rushed into emergency surgery and is now lying in the ICU, clinging to survival. The details are horrifying. Multiple witnesses describe the scene as a bloodbath, a sudden eruption of violence so shocking that guards were left scrambling, helpless as chaos consumed the cell block. Now, cameras have caught T.I. outside the hospital, completely shattered, pleading with doctors, sobbing in front of fans and demanding answers. How could this happen to his son? His words weren't just a father's cry, they were a desperate warning to the entire industry that this story is far bigger than a random fight, because insiders are already leaking whispers that this wasn't an accident. They say King was targeted, that this attack was part of a setup carefully planned by people with motives darker than anyone dares to admit. And tonight, as rumors swirl and social media explodes, fans are left wondering who wanted King Harris silenced. Even more chilling, we're hearing about hidden surveillance footage from inside the jail. Footage that, according to sources, might reveal the terrifying truth about what really went down. And trust me, once you hear the names being linked to this attack, you will never look at hip-hop the same way again. The name King Harris has always been surrounded by sparks of controversy, whispers of rebellion, and the heavy shadow of growing up in a dynasty where fame is both a blessing and a curse. As the son of Clifford T.I. Harris, it's one of the most respected yet polarizing figures in hip-hop. King was born into a world of cameras, headlines, and expectations. But instead of living quietly in that golden glow, King carved out a reputation for being the unpredictable, outspoken, and wild spirit of the Harris family. And now, some are saying that this very reputation may have placed a target on his back. For years, fans watched King Harris transform from a kid featured on T.I. and Tiny, the family hustle, into a teenager who seemed determined to push back against everything his parents stood for. Where T.I. tried to build discipline, King pushed chaos. Where Tiny tried to shield her son, King chased the spotlight. From viral videos of him confronting trolls online, to public brawls where fists flew in parking lots, King was never far from drama. In fact, it almost felt like trouble followed him, lurking in every shadow, waiting for the moment to pounce. And tonight, after the shocking jailhouse ambush that left King hospitalized, fans are asking the same haunting question. Was this path written years ago? Was this the tragic end to a series of warnings everyone ignored? Let's rewind. King Harris's story has always been painted with rebellion. Insiders have said that even as a young teen, King felt suffocated by the Harris legacy. T.I.'s reputation as the king of the South and Tiny's standing in the R&B world. Rather than follow in their footsteps quietly, King made noise. He live-streamed his outbursts, challenged critics, and even clashed with fans who labeled him spoiled. The most infamous moment: a viral Instagram live where King declared he wasn't afraid of the streets, bragging he wasn't one of them kids that got it easy just because of who his father was. The clip exploded across social media, turning King into a polarizing figure. Some praised his rawness, while others accused him of chasing validation in dangerous places. Then came the public fights. One of the most infamous incidents was at a fast food restaurant, where King erupted in anger at employees, threatening violence and posting it online. The backlash was instant. Millions criticized him, saying fame had warped his sense of reality. Yet King doubled down, refusing to apologize, refusing to bow down. He wanted to prove he was his own man, and in doing so, he started walking a very dangerous line between celebrity privilege, real street consequences. But what really shook fans was King's ongoing clash with his own father, T.I. Insiders reveal that behind the scenes, father and son clashed constantly, T.I. begging him to calm down, King insisting he wouldn't live in anyone's shadow. Their tension even spilled into public view during a heated Instagram live session where King and T.I. exchanged harsh words. That moment painted the picture of a fractured father-son bond, one that was being tested by King's need to be independent and reckless. And now, with King lying in ICU after a brutal jail attack. Those old clips and fights are resurfacing, haunting fans with a chilling sense of déjà vu. Many are saying this wasn't random, that King's choices, his outbursts, and his pride may have made him a target inside those walls. But let's be clear, this wasn't the first time King's name was tied to jail. Earlier run-ins with the law hinted at where things were heading. From reckless driving arrests to disturbing altercations, King kept dancing with fire. Each time, T.I. stepped in to defend his son, pleading with fans to understand that King was still young, still learning. But each time, King seemed to slip further from his father's reach. And now, that fire has erupted into an inferno that nearly consumed him. Insiders are already leaking disturbing claims about the attack. That it wasn't just a fight, but a carefully orchestrated ambush involving multiple inmates. Some are saying King had been warned days earlier that something was coming. Others believe the jail itself failed to protect him, allowing tensions to boil until they exploded violently. And here's the darkest part. People close to the situation claim that King's celebrity status made him a target. That being T.I.'s son wasn't a shield, but a bullseye painted on his back. Meanwhile, social media has turned into a battlefield. Old clips of King's rebellious behavior are being replayed, dissected, and dragged into the conversation. Some fans are showing sympathy, crying for his recovery. Others, more brutal, are saying this was karma, the tragic consequence of living recklessly. The split in opinion has only fueled the chaos, and in the middle of it all stands T.I., a father who once told the world he could guide his son through anything, now left shattered outside a hospital, begging for mercy. And here's where it gets even darker. Multiple anonymous sources, allegedly guards and even inmates, are whispering about a conspiracy. They claim this wasn't just a fight, but a message. A warning aimed directly at T.I., meant to shake him. Meant to tell him that his influence and his name can't protect his family anymore. If that's true, then this isn't just about King Harris. This could be the beginning of something far more sinister. The weight of this moment is undeniable. Fans aren't just watching a story about a young man in ICU. They're watching the unraveling of a family dynasty. They're watching a father face his worst nightmare. They're watching a community question how far fame can protect you when the walls close in. And as much as people want answers, one thing is clear. This is only the beginning. Because the whispers are growing louder, the rumors are spreading faster. And the names being linked to this attack are names that will shake the entire industry. The night everything collapsed started out like any other, or at least that's what the guards are saying. King Harris had been in jail long enough to know the rhythms, the constant hum of voices, the metallic clang of doors, the subtle tension that never leaves the air. But that night, the energy was different. Prison insiders later whispered that you could feel the storm brewing, like a pressure drop before a tornado. According to leaked reports, King was pacing his block, restless, when the first sparks of confrontation began. It started small, a verbal clash, a heated exchange that social media exploded within minutes of the story breaking. Hashtags like #PrayForKing and #JusticeForKingHarris began trending. But so did darker ones. #KarmaForKing and #He asked for it. Fans were divided. Some cried out in sympathy, posting emotional messages like, "Nobody deserves this. King is still just a kid." Others were merciless, reposting old videos of King fighting in public and mocking him with captions like, "Thought you was tough. How tough now?" The division grew uglier when celebrities started weighing in. Rapper Boosie allegedly went live saying, "This, the streets. Fame don't mean nothing when you behind them bars." Meanwhile, Cardi B tweeted a now viral post. "I don't care what y'all think about King. He, a child, nobody's child deserves this, period." Her tweet ignited a flood of emotional responses, with fans clashing in the comments. And just when everyone thought the narrative was set, King as either the victim of cruelty or the victim of his own arrogance, a new leak shattered everything. A guard, speaking anonymously to a tabloid, claimed there was video footage from the jail's security cameras that the public wasn't supposed to see. Footage that showed something shocking. King wasn't just attacked. He allegedly threw the first punch, yes, according to this guard's account. King had been the one to spark the physical side of the confrontation. The attackers may have escalated it beyond anything imaginable. But if this leak is true, it wasn't as one-sided as fans believed. And that revelation sent the internet into meltdown suddenly. The question shifted from, why was King attacked? To, did King bring this on himself? The backlash was instant. Some fans refused to believe it, calling it a smear campaign against a young man lying unconscious in a hospital bed. Others latched onto it, posting furious takes, like, see? This is what happens when you run your mouth too much. Meanwhile, T.I. himself was reportedly furious behind the scenes. Insiders close to the family leaked that T.I. had confronted jail officials directly, demanding to see the footage himself. He allegedly screamed, "Don't you dare twist this on my boy. Y'all failed him. It's not the other way around." His rage was so explosive that hospital staff had to calm him down as he waited outside the ICU. The entire hip-hop world now stood on edge. Was King Harris a victim of a planned assassination-style ambush? Or was he a reckless young man who finally pushed the wrong people too far? But the real bombshell was still to come, because late that night, a mysterious Twitter thread began circulating. Posted by an account claiming to be a former associate of the Harris family, the thread laid out a chilling accusation that this attack was not random. Not just prison politics, but revenge. Revenge linked directly to old beefs involving T.I. himself. The account claimed that years ago, T.I. had crossed powerful people in the Atlanta underground. People who had been waiting for the right moment to strike back. And when King landed in jail, vulnerable and exposed, he became the perfect pawn, the perfect way to send T.I. a message. The tweets went viral instantly. Screenshots flooded Instagram. TikTokers made videos connecting dots, pulling up old interviews where T.I. hinted at enemies still lurking and suggesting this was the long-awaited payback. And if that's true, then this story isn't just about King Harris. It's about a father's past coming back to haunt his son in the most violent, tragic way imaginable. By the time dawn broke, the entire hip-hop industry was buzzing with one terrifying thought. If King's attack was a warning, then what comes next? The morning after the attack, the world woke up to chaos. News outlets, blogs, gossip pages, and even mainstream TV couldn't ignore the story anymore. King Harris in ICU, brutally attacked in jail. But what started as shock quickly turned into an avalanche of theories, debates, and accusations that threatened to tear hip-hop apart at first. The headlines focused on survival. Doctors fighting to save King Harris dominated CNN, TMZ, and HipHopDX. Photos of T.I. pacing outside the hospital went viral, his face pale, his hands pressed against his head as if he couldn't believe what he was living. Fans flooded the comments with prayers. "Stay strong, King. Nobody deserves this. T.I., we're with you." But then the narrative shifted that anonymous guards claimed that King may have thrown the first punch, started spreading like wildfire. And once it hit Twitter, it was unstoppable. People began posting old videos of King fighting in public, screaming at strangers, acting out on live streams, and captioning them with lines like, "See? He always thought he was untouchable." Suddenly, the sympathy wasn't unanimous anymore. It became polarizing. Half the internet prayed for King. The other half mocked him. And that's when the first shocking reveal. A leaked audio recording posted by a gossip blog with millions of followers allegedly captured guards talking after the incident. In the clip, one guard could be heard saying, "We knew something was going down. They told us to stay clear. They wanted it to happen." That line detonated across social media. What did he mean they wanted it to happen? Who is they? Was this negligence or conspiracy? Twitter spiraled. Fans speculated endlessly. Some claimed rival inmates bribed guards to turn a blind eye. Others insisted it was bigger, that someone outside the jail had orchestrated the attack, pulling strings from the shadows. TikTokers dug up old interviews where T.I. hinted that he still had enemies in Atlanta who never forgot. Conspiracy threads exploded on Reddit, and suddenly this wasn't just about a fight. It was about power, money, and revenge. Meanwhile, celebrities began weighing in, and the reactions only fueled the fire. 50 Cent, never one to hold back, posted a cryptic Instagram story with the caption, "When you play gangster, sometimes the game plays you. Pray for the kid, though." Killer Mike defended T.I. fiercely, saying, "This ain't no game. This is a child. Whoever let this happen got blood on their hands." Lil Boosie doubled down, going live to say, "I told y'all, these jails ain't no joke. I don't care who your daddy is, you've still gotta survive inside." The fan wars became brutal. Hashtags clashed in real time. Hashtag justice for King versus hashtag karma for King. Entire TikTok trends popped up, with users editing dramatic music over clips of T.I. crying outside the hospital. Memes, prayers, and threats swirled together, until nobody could tell where the truth ended and the chaos began. But then came the second twist, the reveal that took this story from shocking to downright sinister. Late that night, a mysterious account on Instagram, claiming to be linked to the people behind the attack, dropped a bombshell. "This ain't about King. This about his daddy. Tell T.I. he knows why this happened." The post was deleted within minutes, but not before screenshots spread everywhere. Blogs ran with it. Fans dissected every word. Did this mean the attack was never really about King Harris at all, but about T.I.'s past? Insiders began whispering even louder. Some claimed it was tied to old street beefs from T.I.'s Atlanta days, debts that were never forgiven. Others insisted it was linked to industry politics, suggesting that rival figures in hip-hop wanted to send T.I. a message through his son. A few even speculated it was inside betrayal, someone close to the Harris family leaking King's vulnerabilities to enemies. And if that wasn't enough, things got even darker when rumors spread about the hospital itself. A supposed insider nurse claimed King wasn't just recovering quietly, he was under 24-hour armed security because doctors feared someone might try to finish the job. That revelation pushed fans over the edge. Suddenly, this wasn't just a story about jail violence. It was a story about assassination attempts, old vendettas, and a war that had spilled from the streets into the hospital. T.I., reportedly sleepless and enraged, was said to be making calls all night, summoning allies, threatening lawsuits, and vowing revenge. One insider claimed T.I. was overheard telling someone on the phone if they wanted a war, they just got one. Fans began speculating that T.I. might retaliate, that he might use his connections to dig up the truth and strike back. But others warned that this could spiral into something far worse, that if the rumors were true, then King Harris wasn't just a victim of jail politics. He was the first casualty in a battle much bigger than himself. By morning, the story had grown beyond belief. Entire YouTube channels were dissecting the case. Twitter threads mapped out alleged connections between T.I. and past enemies. Instagram Lives pulled in hundreds of thousands of viewers debating who was behind the attack. Some said it was a rival rapper's crew. Others claimed it was Atlanta street figures from decades ago. And a chilling few whispered the unthinkable, that someone inside the Harris family itself may have betrayed King. The more the speculation grew, the more divided the public became. Was King Harris an innocent victim? Or was he caught in the crossfire of sins from a father's past? And then, just as fans thought the storm couldn't escalate further, another leak dropped. This time, a blurry screenshot of what looked like hospital. If that's real, then someone isn't just trying to spin this story. Someone may actively want King gone, if the attack on King Harris shook the prison walls. The public reaction ripped through the internet like a hurricane. What started as scattered headlines quickly transformed into a full-blown cultural moment, with everyone from die-hard fans to mainstream commentators throwing themselves into the firestorm. The hashtags alone told the story. Hashtag #PrayForKing trended globally, with thousands of heartfelt posts begging for his recovery. But just beneath it, the cruel counter-tag #karma for King rose just as fast, filled with mocking memes, old video clips of King acting reckless, and captions like, "Life comes at you fast." The digital divide was vicious, sympathy and savagery. Fighting for dominance in every feed, TikTok became ground zero. Users posted teary-eyed videos with soft piano music, whispering prayers over montages of King with his family. Others, colder and more brutal, layered his past outbursts over crime scene imagery, suggesting the ICU was the final lesson. The duality was chilling, some mourned. Some celebrated. Twitter threads exploded with conspiracy theories. One viral post read, "This wasn't random. This was revenge." T.I.'s enemies waited years for this moment. It racked up 300,000 likes overnight. Another thread speculated that King had been betrayed by someone close. How did the attackers know where and when to strike? Somebody fed them info. Somebody set this up. The idea of betrayal spread like wildfire, fueling suspicion that the Harris family itself was fractured. And then came the celebrity reactions, each one adding gasoline to the fire. Snoop Dogg posted on Instagram, "Prayers up for the young homie. This ain't the way." Protect the babies. Kanye West, unpredictable as ever, posted a bizarre all-caps message. "This is not an attack on King. This is an attack on the legacy. They want to destroy Black dynasties." Fans debated whether it was support or paranoia, but it sparked massive discussion anyway. Meek Mill called out the prison system directly. "Y'all keep saying this was a fight. Nah, this was negligence. They left that boy to die. Somebody gotta pay." Meanwhile, Charlemagne thought God stirred the pot on The Breakfast Club, saying, "Look, we all know King been wild. But if this was about T.I.'s past, then hip-hop got a way bigger problem than one fight." Fans clung to every word, dissecting posts, speculating on alliances, and accusing certain rappers of being too quiet. One particularly viral theory claimed that a rival Atlanta rapper's crew orchestrated the attack. No proof, no receipts, but the internet didn't care. The lack of denial was taken as guilt. The industry itself was fracturing. Some artists rallied behind T.I., calling for justice and tighter prison oversight. Others whispered privately and sometimes publicly that maybe this was a lesson, that maybe King had pushed too hard, played too reckless, and finally met a wall even fame couldn't break. One shocking moment came during a live-streamed panel when a well-known hip-hop journalist bluntly asked, "Do we feel sorry for King? Or do we feel sorry for everyone he disrespected before this happened?" The backlash was immediate, but it captured the uncomfortable split in public opinion. Meanwhile, mainstream media jumped on the frenzy. CNN hosted experts debating the failures of the prison system. Fox News spun the story into a cautionary tale about celebrity privilege. Gone wrong. TMZ aired footage of T.I. pacing outside the hospital, his face broken, his voice cracking as he said only 2 words, "Pray harder." That clip became a meme, a prayer, and a rallying cry all at once. But perhaps the most explosive reaction came not from fans or celebrities, but from within the Harris circle itself. Tiny King's mother reportedly broke down in a private video that later leaked online. In it, she sobbed, "They tried to kill my baby. Somebody tried to kill my baby. And I know it's because of old grudges that should have died years ago." The clip, raw and emotional, went viral instantly. It wasn't just a mother's plea, it was confirmation, at least in the eyes of fans, that this was no random attack. And if that wasn't enough, the industry began buzzing with a question nobody wanted to ask out loud. Was T.I. himself partly to blame? Not for the attack, but for the enemies he made in his rise to the top. For the old beefs he never buried. For the grudges that may have waited silently until they found their revenge in the most heartbreaking way possible. Some insiders even hinted that T.I.'s own reputation was under attack now. That while he was pleading desperately outside the ICU, others in the industry were quietly whispering, "This wouldn't have happened if he hadn't burned so many bridges." The backlash, the sympathy, the conspiracies, it was all swirling into one massive storm. And through it all, one chilling detail kept resurfacing. The rumor that King's ICU room was under 24-hour armed guard because doctors feared someone might try to finish the job. Fans couldn't shake the thought. If King Harris was safe nowhere, not even in a hospital bed, then what did that mean for T.I.? What did that mean for the Harris family? Just when fans thought the storm couldn't rage any harder, it did. For days, the internet had been divided between sympathy and blame. Rumors swirled, conspiracy threads exploded, and King Harris remained in the ICU, clinging to life. But late last night, a new leak dropped, one that didn't just shake the narrative. It blew it apart completely. According to documents obtained by a so-called insider nurse, King Harris wasn't just the victim of a random attack. He was listed under protective custody at the hospital, not because of his celebrity status, but because officials feared he might be targeted again. That's right. The whispers weren't paranoia. The ICU was locked down because someone out there allegedly wanted to make sure King Harris never walked out alive. And then the real bombshell landed: an anonymous hacker group, the same kind that once leaked celebrity. Demas posted screenshots they claimed came from private prison emails. In them, one chilling line stood out: Operation complete. Message delivered. Phase 2 pending. Phase 2. The internet went into full meltdown. What did it mean? Was King's attack only the beginning of a larger plan? And if so, who was the true target: King or his father, T.I.? Social media exploded instantly. TikTokers made horror-style edits of the words Phase 2. Twitter trended with hashtag Phase 2 for hours. Some fans speculated that it meant another attack was coming. Maybe against T.I. directly? Others feared the unthinkable, that King's condition was worse than reported. And Phase 2 referred to silencing him completely. T.I., already on edge, was reportedly furious behind the scenes. Insiders leaked that he stormed into a private hospital meeting demanding answers. One source even claimed he shouted, "If my son don't make it, I swear the world gon' feel it." Those words, raw and rage-filled, only fueled the idea that this was bigger than a father's heartbreak. This was war. And then came the final twist, one nobody saw coming. A blurry video began circulating online, allegedly smuggled out of the jail by an unnamed guard. In the footage, grainy but still shocking, King Harris could be seen just minutes before the attack. He wasn't alone. He was talking to someone through the bars. Someone whose face was partially hidden but unmistakable to those who froze the frames, according to fans dissecting every pixel. The figure bore a terrifying resemblance to a former associate of T.I., a man he reportedly cut ties with years ago after a fallout involving money and loyalty. If this is true, then the implication is staggering. The attack on King wasn't just random prison violence. It was orchestrated from the outside by someone who once stood close to the Harris empire, someone who wanted revenge not just on T.I., but on his bloodline. The video, real or not, went viral within hours. Some swore it was proof. Others claimed it was doctored to stir chaos. But the damage was done. The suspicion had been planted. This wasn't about King Harris's behavior. This was about betrayal, legacy, and vengeance. And here's where it gets even darker. Insiders whispered that T.I. himself had recognized the figure in the footage, that when he saw it, he froze, turned pale, and muttered, "It can't be him." If true, then this wasn't just an enemy resurfacing. This was a ghost from T.I.'s past coming back to destroy everything he built. The internet ran wild with speculation. Who was the man? What history did he share with T.I.? And most importantly, what exactly is Phase 2? But here's the haunting truth. We don't know if King Harris will wake up. We don't know if Phase 2 is real or just a terrifying bluff. We don't know who that shadowy figure in the leaked jail video really was, a ghost from T.I.'s past, or a manufactured smear campaign meant to drag his legacy through the mud. And that's why your voice matters. Do you believe King was a victim of a targeted conspiracy? Or do you think he dug this grave with his reckless behavior? Was this attack really about him? Or about T.I.'s enemies coming back for blood after years of silence? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't hold back. We want to hear it all. The prayers, the theories, the anger, and even the wildest conspiracies. Because this story isn't just being told by the media. It's being written in real time by every fan who refuses to look away. And if you've made it this far, you already know this drama is far from over. Phase 2 is coming, whether we're ready or not. The only question is, who will be caught in the crossfire?